I'll have your guts.
The Middle-earth universe is full of rich lore, and there have been several movies and a slew of video games taking place in the world. It's no secret that the Middle-earth-based video games have struggled a little bit, so can Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor finally break this slump? Let's jump right into what we thought was one of the most impressive aspects of Shadow of Mordor, and those are the orcs. Now, just to give you a fair warning, this game can be a bit bloody at times. The orcs in Shadow of Mordor definitely steal the show, everything from their design to their armor and the variety between each one. The devs went to great lengths getting them to look perfect. One of the great things about the orcs is the fact that each one is unique. The devs did a great job mixing up the orcs. Now you can certainly encounter two orcs with the same chest armor, but their helmet may be different, or even the size of the orcs is different. This makes it so that you don't get the feeling that you're fighting the exact same enemy over and over. It was also nice seeing the variation between each captain that you face. Each one is a little bit different, and if a grunt kills you, he typically gets promoted to a captain, and his power increases, and so does his armor.
He will remember Precious. We will make him.
The devs also did a great job recreating Gollum. Yes, in Shadow of Mordor, everyone's favorite gangly creature makes an appearance. Now, he is not on the same level as he is in the films, but they're able to get a lot of detail into Gollum, and they captured his eyes extremely well, which the eyes are one of the most difficult things to get right. And along with the character modeling, the texturing is really impressive and makes the orcs feel that much more gruesome. The devs did a great job creating unique textures as well, so not every orc in Mordor is going to have the same skin tone. One may have greenish skin while the other might have grayish skin. This really helped to create even more variety with the orcs. You can see some of the great texture details in this close-up shot. The discoloration of his skin and his torn up and beaten armor. Even down to their teeth, the texture artist did an amazing job getting every small detail perfect. And one of the small details that the devs got into the texturing, which goes a really long way, is having blood accumulate on the orcs as they receive multiple wounds. So check out this shot as we knock this orc to the ground just after he received a couple good slashes from us. As we enter this execution move, you can see his entire face and chest is covered in his own blood. It's a small detail, but it really goes a long way. It makes the attacks you deal feel like they're really having an effect on the orcs. Small texturing details like that really add to the believability. So while the orcs had some nice texturing details and their textures would change depending on the damage you did, we really didn't see the same attention to detail spent with Talion, the main character. As you're hacking and slashing your way through orcs, engaging in some very gruesome execution moves, you would expect to see some blood land on Talion. Well, no matter how many heads you lop off, no blood appears on Talion. It's one of those things that definitely isn't a game breaker, but adding those small details can go a really long way. Of course, it could have simply come down to performance issues. Anything that would hinder the gameplay has to be avoided. While it's great to have those nice small touches in your game, if it affects the gameplay negatively, in any way, it's something that might need to be reconsidered. We actually spoke with one of the environment artists who worked on the game, and he mentioned that was one of the most important things they had to keep in mind during the development of Shadow of Mordor, making sure nothing hindered the performance, even if that meant sacrificing the visual aesthetics. So if you're working on your own game, that's something you'll need to keep in the back of your mind. While it may look great to increase the visuals of the game, if the performance suffers, it will likely need to be taken out. And while Talion may not have had as much detail or attention that the orcs got, his character really makes up for it in the animations. Every animation in the game is fluid and believable, from the attack moves to the climbing, and even the lip sync and facial animations are really top notch. And since this game is mostly about fighting orcs, there's really no better place to start than with the attack animations. And you can really see just how impressive the animations are when you're faced with a group of orcs. The fluidity between each attack that the animators created is something to marvel at if you're an animator. As you're striking, dodging, and jumping, every animation links up perfectly with the next. As you're engaging in an execution move, like this one right here, they can be interrupted by an attacking orc. This requires you to quickly parry the attack. You would expect the transition between an execution to a parry with another orc to have a pop or at least a quick transition to the dodge. This never really happens. Every single attack or parry that you do links up with the other, creating an extremely fluid fighting experience. On the animation side, This takes a lot of planning and communication to make sure that every attack or dodge animation makes sense with the others, and ends and begins at a point where the other animations can link up without creating an extreme pop. And you can tell the animators had a fun time with this game, getting to create all the different execution moves, like this one right here. How cool is that? Now, along with the combat animations, the facial animation is really well done as well.
So, we missed one of you at Narcos, eh? An easy mistake to fix.
You can tell that there was a nice amount of facial controls available to the animators to be able to create some interesting facial expressions with the orcs. And the animators also did a great job with Gollum's facial animation, recreating some of those iconic expressions that you see in the movies. So while Shadow of Mordor definitely takes some influences from other titles you're probably aware of, it provides a unique approach and some great gameplay mechanics that help it to stand out. The climbing in the game is simple. You hold A or X, depending on the platform you're on, and run toward a wall. Talion will climb up the obstacle with amazing agility. The mechanics are simple and easy to get comfortable with. While much of the combat in the game consists of attacking orcs and then pressing the parry button when prompted to counter the attack, in reality, you can go a long time without ever taking any damage, as long as you press the parry button soon enough. The devs do a good job mixing this up though, making it a little bit more difficult for you. For instance, some enemies require you to press A or X to dodge an attack, like the archers or the orcs carrying spears. This easily breaks up your rhythm and switches things up on you unexpectedly. Another cool aspect is that the devs tried to mix up the gameplay slightly. For example, you can ride Caragors or the Grogs, which are the troll-like creatures, and go around terrorizing orc encampments. Depending on which creature you're controlling, it really alters the gameplay and provides a fresh experience. And you can really change how you approach a mission. You can go in hacking or slashing, or jump onto a Caragor and bite your way through the orcs. While getting to ride Caragors and Grogs is a pretty awesome feature, the devs actually implemented something you might already be aware of, and that is the Nemesis system. Now, they really tried to push this as the big selling point in the game, and it truly is an impressive and unique feature we really haven't seen in a game before. It gives you a glimpse into Sauron's army, letting you hunt down captains and war chiefs. However, it's constantly changing based on your actions in the game. If you die at the hands of a grunt orc, he will likely get promoted as a captain, and his power increases. If you continue to die at the hands of the same captain, he levels up and becomes harder. This makes dying have a real impact on the game. The Nemesis system also provides a really great example of the AI in the game. If you encounter a captain a second time, he will remember you. Alternatively, if you encounter a captain for the first time, he will remember that you recently killed a captain or war chief, and his actions may change depending on that.
The wind warned me of you, man-thing. But I fly on the wind, and I will bring your death with it!
It makes Mordor feel like a living and breathing world where things are happening around you even if you aren't there to witness them. And the actions you make have a ripple effect throughout Mordor.
Man stupid to fight near Dark Lord! Man die!
While the Nemesis system provides a unique experience and the gameplay is really rock solid, we did find some small issues with the game. The level design is one of them. The game can start to get pretty repetitive, even many of the side missions can start to feel similar. We also felt many of the areas in the game were reminiscent of another area you were probably just at. Many of the orc strongholds and encampments all felt laid out similarly, and many of the same assets were used in every single stronghold. So while you may encounter a new stronghold, it won't really feel or look much different than the one before. That being said, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor has some truly impressive technical aspects, from the unique Nemesis system to the fluid animations and the great character modeling and texturing. As a game designer, this is one you'll definitely want to check out. The devs at Monolith did an excellent job capturing the style of Middle-earth and giving their own unique spin on it. If you haven't already, be sure to add us on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network with the gamertag Digital-Tutors.